Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a set of tools for dulcimer players, and we've just wrapped up the chord chart for hammered dulcimers, and I want to do some refactoring, and depending how that goes or how far we go with that, we'll move on to some prep for a beta test. We've got a fair bit of functions in this whole app, and certainly enough for others to look at and give me some guidance, so I want to get to that point this week or next at least. Refactoring can be pretty fun, and this code deserves it, so we'll see. Okay, so I think we'll pick up with Mighty Coffee Mug made an observation that we could remove the underscore and kind of improve the way the way our Node HDs work. So let's look at that. It wasn't Node HD, it was NodePair. Okay, so we have halfSteps. Actually, I want to change this name, and I'm just going to say marker. And I think this notion of deleting this is even better with a Boolean, because it's really hard to know what Booleans mean. I just have a true sitting there bare. So let's see. I think I can do it with this. No, maybe not. Can I do it with this? Thought there was a way. If I delete it? No. Okay. We'll let the compiler tell us. But I did want to change that name. needsMarker was okay, but I think marker is enough to do it, and it's a little shorter and sweeter. So now let's do a build. Find all these NotePair references, which we know our tuning chart HD is going to have the bulk of them. Okay, so this is marker true. We already deleted the ones that had false. And we'll get these and see if we can drop those nils, because I think we can. Okay, build again. So I think Mighty Coffee Mug's point was the fact that this was nullable, this is nullable, and this was nullable, meant that if you deleted this, it didn't quite know how to match things up, and that maybe this way we can. Okay, that built. Let's see if this works. But yeah, I think it deserves the name there anyway, just to kind of clarify things. All right, I'm liking this. Okay. And let's just, I feel like there should be some tests that had some note pairs in them too, but maybe there aren't. A bridge, okay. Oh, he didn't need the marker. Okay. Yeah, which makes sense. The marker is really a kind of display thing. Well, I'm not sure that explains it in the way I want. Let's, rename NodePair needsMarker to marker. Remove unneeded nils in callers. One more with nil. Did I miss? Do that find again. Oh, you're right. Thank you. It seems like, I don't know, some language, Smalltalk or something, we could have defined a constant that just said marker, and then maybe it's an enum that says marker or no marker. I don't know, unmarked, maybe marked and unmarked, and then pass that argument as that. And the nice thing with that is it kind of says, if this thing grew to 3 possibilities, I'd have a natural path, and you don't need the name and the Boolean to tell you that. Maybe I just convinced myself I'll do that. I don't know. I mean, I don't see it growing. The only piece that, yeah, I mean, it's not really done with the marker, so I'm not sure. This marker gets added on top of this line, but if we pick one that's not the same height, the line goes a little extra on there, but the line is not drawn on a NotePair. It's drawn separately, so I'm not sure having it marked or unmarked or totally blank or something would not be enough to do it. Yeah, given the way that's drawn. I don't know. I would like it, but okay. Right. But that's good. I like that for sure. NoteName.plus. Okay, let's go find NoteName. This was a refactoring I wanted to do, name this halfSteps, but I'll do it again just to prove that I wasn't imagining this horrible refactoring tool. If I change this to halfSteps, it's changing the meaning because there's already a halfSteps local variable. And yeah, so it replaced it without any complaint. It should not have allowed that refactoring. It should have blocked it. I mean, I hate the way this thing will often blank stuff out and you have no idea why, so it'd be nice if there was some indication. Like I would be happy enough that if it popped up a dialog and said, hey, you're renaming to an identical name to one of your parameters, and that's just not going to work. Okay. The other thing I do with this is I say self and other, like maybe other halfSteps or halfSteps 2. I'm curious who's calling this, but I'll take that. And then this, I'm going to say halfSteps. Okay. That's kind of okay. Yeah, we could do that. Well, almost every other refactoring tool I've used would give warnings like that, but not in Swift. Unfortunately, AppCode, I don't know specifically that it does that for Swift, but it's been, it's heading towards end of life and kind of deprecated. So I'm not willing to fight with it. But Eclipse and JetBrains other stuff, at least for Java and C#, definitely you get notices on some of that stuff. Welcome, by the way. Yeah, I mean, it to me is very fundamental to what a refactoring should do. And honestly, I should file that as a bug for Apple because it's just not, we could have easily missed that. Actually, we kind of did. I saw it was this and funny halfSteps plus halfSteps, but I ran the tests and went ahead and then got a test failing and went back and checked and yeah, it's kind of, that's the problem. But yeah, so now I think the other thing, well, okay, we did a rename. Let's just take that and run with it. Okay, so rename note name. This is not a real syntax, but to dot halfSteps. Okay. Now, what this reveals to me, though, or not reveals, but I've been uncomfortable the whole time we've been using these ints all over the place. it's like, are they really half steps? And, you know, if they're half steps, there ought to be a type for it. Maybe it's maybe it's just a minimal wrapper for int, but it's a real thing. So let's pull that out. And I think what we're going to find is there's a lot of places that are doing half steps arithmetic across at least the chord chart for hammered dulcimers and maybe for mountain as well. All right, let's see. That passed. Did that pass? I can't remember if I ran it. Yeah, but in general, refactorings have prerequisites. You know, this one is saying a variable is valid for renaming only if there's no context where that name is already in use for some other purpose. You know, because of the way shadowing works. You know, if we name it in the parameter, we may mask the one that's at the class level or higher. Okay. And you know, it has these for some circumstances. I mean, if I do a extract method that doesn't make sense, it disallows it. Yeah, I'll make a note to myself. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow or something. But rename doesn't check for name conflict. Now, I don't know what their priority is on refactoring stuff, but you know, it's a legit complaint. Okay, that ran. Let's check this in. Okay, so I think I put chord chart common for this name of this folder, but I kind of think I almost think like domain or music might be more accurate. And these are very that one's a little funny, but chord quality, okay, these define the shapes or the patterns that correspond to chords, how many half steps up from the base of the chord, from the first note of the chord. Well, those are going to be candidates for half steps. But the class itself is very much, it's just sort of straight out of music theory. Other than this, no, this one kind of doesn't belong there. Yeah, I don't know. I have to think on that one. But in this folder anyway, I'll put half step. New empty file. halfstep.swift. Okay, and then my first step I could say type halfstep equals int. Okay, and now I could use it. So let's use it here just as a demonstration, I guess. Now nobody will complain because it's a type alias, so they boil down to being an int, and in effect it's ignored. Wow, come on. Okay, now that should build. And in fact, I can make it factor to half step. Okay. And that builds. Okay, so I'm putting in valid changes, but they don't break anybody yet. All right. Now, if I changed half step to being its own type, then all of a sudden these things would go nuts, complain. And I don't want to obscure things, but in a way this is I think it's just more accurate to what's going on. And it kind of justifies those. I mean, it definitely feels more clear to me that these are half steps, and we ought to think of them that way. Whoops. A few more. And I think there'll be some payoff that we'll be able to turn this into almost acting like an int type, and we'll give it the plus operator, and I think the reading of it will be pretty good. All right, so we'll say introduce half step. Okay. All right, and then let's go back to note name. And this should be half steps. Okay, and nobody's going to complain. We're taking int. Well, I think this should be half step. Maybe half steps might read better. Okay. Okay. Okay, so then the switch over, and we'll do this in tiny bits. Okay, that's gonna do that. Let's just say let value of int, and we'll define an init. I don't want to require that and that. Okay, so now half steps takes an int still and saves it, but yeah, I don't know if a good way to get the value back out. but mostly we won't need to. Okay, so this should break a bunch of stuff that thinks it can just call ints and half steps and treat them the same. So my approach on this is I left this here momentarily. I didn't know how many of those there would be, but it putting this in temporarily lets me fix these kind of one at a time. I could fix some and then turn it back into type alias, make sure everything's good, fix some more, and that kind of thing. This is not so bad. I think we can, well, let's look at this. Scale chord.offset. Let's see what he does. Plus offset. Okay, let's find the usages of this and make sure that the offsets really are those. I think the answer is yeah. This is how many half steps up are you in the scale. So let's go ahead and add those here. Whoops. And I'll hide our new type in a moment just to prove that my theory on that works. It can't do everything, but it can get a lot of them. Now the problem we have here is scale chord's constructor doesn't expect a half steps object. It expects an int. Okay. All right, and let's go back to half steps. Okay. Adding a second constructor. Well, yeah, except then I would have had to change everybody to that. But like this, I mean, I believe if I'm doing this right so far, everybody should build now. I'll run tests. So I'm putting it in, probing a little bit, fixing some stuff, running tests, and I don't think I have to do this for this where we had, a dozen places, but if I had 1,000 or even 100, I'd want some way to kind of transition incrementally. I think some of the places, I think I saw one that flashed by was like a problem not being hashable, that int's hashable, but half steps isn't. So that's not a problem we could fix the way I just did. But I think from here, I'll just do it because I don't think it's that big a step. But we'll see. Okay, so scale chord offset, we say should be half steps. And does not conform to equatable. Okay, so this is telling us our half steps need to be equatable and probably hashable. Okay, yeah, hashable. And all it is an int, so it's happy to synthesize that for us. Okay. Position is an int. I think he should be halfSteps. And now this is, well, I'm going to say we're going to have to make a new halfSteps, and he's going to be position.value %, that all stuff. Okay. Cannot type array of string .index int to type halfSteps. Okay, yeah, so this, we're saying the integer value of this is really the same as the halfSteps. Okay, and that's kind of fundamental to the way we wrote our data structure to make sure that the index of each one corresponded. Okay, referencing plus on SIMD requires, I don't know what SIMD is, but halfSteps is a halfSteps, so we're going to have to do .value. Well, this is going to tell me now all these places where I'm putting halfSteps, tells me that probably belongs on the halfSteps doing this arithmetic. Okay, but we'll see. Okay, it's not converted to hashable. Okay, good. Note name self to no halfSteps dot value. Yeah, so I don't think we'll escape providing the value for this. I think we're going to have to fetch it out in some cases, but mostly that's when we go back to being a name. Most of the time we compute things with halfSteps. Candidate expects, right, this needs to become halfSteps of all this. Okay. And that may do it. No. Note.halfSteps. Note is what? A Note HD. Cannot assign halfSteps to int. Okay, he should be halfSteps. Convert value of type int. String is NoteName. Plus halfSteps. Okay, so fret. What's fret? He does not have halfSteps yet. And we'll be able to look at halfSteps.value will tell us where all these places are. And that's going to be .value. I'm surprised that a whole bunch of these seem to show up after I had already cleaned them all out. So I'm not sure what this is doing. Perfect course distance. Let's say this is halfSteps. Excuse me. Note.halfSteps. Okay, that one. A chord chart offsets, yeah, that's halfSteps. try our tests. Well, there are more than I thought there would be. Okay. Oh, we get to do our fancy thing. I'll fix the ones that... I don't know, I'm losing my touch on that. Huh. Okay. Huh. I don't know what's happening. No. Okay. I don't know. It's such a subtle command sequence. I'm never sure if it's me or it, but it doesn't seem to work. Wow, we got a lot of these. Okay, that worked. Huh. I don't know. This super flat keyboard is kind of my least liked thing about this Mac. Sorry, I find this part very boring. What is it? It's... There it goes. Okay. Nope. Let's try Control Shift Option and click. And click and drag. If I let go of the mouse first, it doesn't work. If I let go of Control first, Option first. No? I don't know. I should check Keycaster again and see if they've updated it lately, because it seemed to have fallen apart with the last release. One more. Oh, maybe that's the problem. I don't know. But the error was there when I put in the front stuff, so why is it giving me grief? I mean, it was still in the middle of the line too, but I don't know. I think this is the last one of these. Good. Let me just add the note on that. Oh, just a couple parens. Multi-line brackets violation. I don't see why that should change. Now size, I don't think that should be a halfSteps. We'll look at that when we come back around for these halfStep values, but they could well be something different. Can I convert value of fret.string plus fret.halfSteps? That seems okay. I don't know what that is. Fret.halfSteps to fret exposition. That's dot value. No way around that one. Okay, let's see if that cleans it up a bit. Map. Map. Okay, what are we doing? To frets.count, map to frets.halfSteps. Frets 0.halfSteps. Okay, fret 0 is going to be an int. Frets of whatever dot halfSteps. That's a halfSteps. Okay. So filter %0 dot value %stealth dot that. I guess this is going to have to become a halfSteps. HalfSteps equals string dot distance up to note. Cannot convert value of think that should be halfSteps. Come on. 149. Yeah, I think he should be halfSteps. Well, let's keep going. Okay, this one's a dot value. At the moment we're converting back out, there's definitely no way to avoid finding out the number. Command Option does it too. And that one works. Okay. This is Fret wants halfSteps, yeah. I gotta maybe see Fret taking the int and converting it to halfSteps rather than doing it on the outside. But the real situations, they have the halfSteps, so it's not an issue for them. All different. Nice when it works. Yeah. Yeah, I mean we could put it in make an extra constructor just for the test even that did this. I'm holding off on deciding, I guess. And partly that's a philosophy aspect. I mean, I would rather make sure I do a change that I know is consistent and workable and not kind of switch halfway through to a different approach, even though it definitely takes a few more minutes to do it that way. This guy has his pile. That was kind of when I first saw like Kent Beck do a demo of refactoring. That was what really struck me, was lots of really teeny tiny steps, never taking a kind of leap of faith on the refactoring. And that definitely made an impression on me. Not that I think the tedium of this is justified, but okay, that because in a way I think this is communicating something that is really important, that we're talking about half steps, and taking out, hiding that hides kind of an important thing. So I don't know. I do wish the compiler, I wish it would find the errors in these tests as fast as it finds the other ones. I do note it does hurt the readability though, so there's definitely an argument on the other side. It requires it to conform to comparable. Okay. Cannot convert value of string half steps to closure type. Oh. Positions returns half steps. Okay. Positions for each position dot value. I probably should have done about half the work and then switch that thing back again. Okay, half steps of this percent. Half steps. Oh, this is. Okay. Yeah. The width is really a half steps, I think. Width of frets should return half steps. Reach should be half steps. Okay. Okay, let's go back to half steps. I guess I shouldn't pile on. Oh, I can't do that now. Everybody's got value on them. Yeah. Yeah, doing this crossed my mind quite a while back. I mean, it crossed my mind while we were doing the mountain dulcimer version of this, and I just kind of dreaded it too much. But this is good. We made it. Make half steps its own type. Else. Okay, now whoever references this, let's do a search. Okay, here's a good one. Okay, we do for half steps of this plus a value. Now these 12s, those are really an octave. Yeah. So let's find these 12s. Let's put a constant on half steps for that. Static let octave equal 12. Okay. Now this is really half steps dot octave dot value. Okay. This is, well, do I want to pull that? I think this is really half steps of 2 plus fret dot, no, half steps dot octave. Okay, but we don't have a plus. Is that the complaint yet? Function on floating point requires, yeah, we don't want to be floating point. Okay, so I think let's do the operator plus. Find that again. Okay, so here we have half steps of some half steps plus some half steps. That we can turn into operator plus. Okay, so let's do that. If I remember the syntax, plus of LHS left hand side and right hand side. I think I have to make it a static function, right? Do I have to put a space? And then a LHS plus RH plus a value. No, is that okay? Infix operator. No, there's a different way to do that. This site often has good examples. Declares a global function, declares a static function. That's what I'm trying to do. Oh, I didn't say func. Oh, I don't use the word operator either. Okay. Well, is that left, right? Yeah, and we don't really need to worry about these because they're implicit with the operator. Okay. And I don't know. Can I say self? No. I don't know. I kind of prefer that. Okay. Now this should become frets halfSteps plus halfSteps.octave. Get rid of those parens, and this should be, well, it was halfSteps of 12 plus that. Am I missing a parent or something? Chord shape. Fret. halfStep plus this. Yeah, well, we can fix that. I don't think that's that much more readable, but okay. Let's I don't know. Now this one, first for node on string. I don't know if these should be arrays of halfSteps. And they are halfSteps. Requires halfSteps conform to comparable. If it conform to stridable. Is that how they spelled it? Oh, sorry. Let's fix that. I don't quite know if we want to I don't think we can be stridable. Because we got a wraparound thing going. Maybe. Okay, well. Yeah. Why is that? Oh. I think we might be able to do this now with comparable. We'll synthesize those others. I'm mostly inclined to start looking for these ones that do addition. Like that. Okay, so self.halfSteps. Take away the dot value. Or take away the dot value. Yeah, I think that looks much nicer. Less than. Well, we can add these two. And then take the value. I don't think we escape that. But we can work on an operator for percent. Minus. Well, its offset is. Let's map those. And they become the offsets. Note name of halfSteps plus offset. Okay. No, I don't think it'll do subtraction for you, unfortunately. Oh, I missed. Okay, that one's all right. Self.notenames. And I think this could almost be... I think that should actually be octave of halfSteps dot octave dot value. All right, let's go back to our dot values. I think I got the pluses. Oops. Oh, yeah, he's going to have to do it. Okay, can't get rid of that one. All right. Let's check this in. But we did see some subtraction there, right? So maybe we should get those next. I thought we had some. I know we have percent. Oh, yeah, there's some. Okay. So let's take this. Result. halfSteps minus halfSteps, but result is not. Oh, he's still an int. Okay. Do we have another minus? Well, let's go ahead and add that operator. Come on. Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know. It makes sense to me to kind of in the sense of like filling out the type with the things that make sense for it. You know, that we're doing these kind of arithmetic plus, minus, and mod, and it feels like they can have those operators. Like anytime I ask for the value, it's kind of a it's a sign to me that we're not operating in our type. Now we may not be able to escape this, like this one. We need to know the actual numeric index of this array. Yeah, I don't think I see our way around that one. Okay, but if I take this minus that, okay, now I have, can I get the value? That may be a case that can't do it, actually. Because we don't really get negative halfSteps. I will make this halfSteps dot octave. Dot value. So the thing I'm kind of hitting it's, we're using half steps differently, two ways. One is the half steps is just literal half steps, number of frets between 2 points, or number of black and white keys on a piano. And it could be arbitrarily, it could be 75, arbitrarily many steps from one end to the other. The other way we're using it is with this modulo stuff. And that this one is he's kind of saying, if I subtract two values, I want to get back up into the proper octave. Well, it's the distance up to something. I mean, it could be, I don't know. Could other ever be less than half steps? In a way, yes. Because if I say go the distance from G up to D, I really do want you to tell me the G that's, the D that's how many steps that is, half steps that is. Yeah, maybe we can do that. But it is really the gap between them that counts. I think, well, basically, if you say, I want to go up from G to D, the problem is you wrap around the octave, G, A, B, C to D. So if you count your way up, if you subtract numerically, I should say, I mean, it's kind of a modulo, but not exactly. I'm going to save that one. Let's take this back out, because I think it may be that that's a weird modulo. Like maybe we give it a double % or something, because it's like if it's too low, if it goes negative, if it wraps around, then add it back in. So it's a modulo. It does modulo, keeps it within so many frets, but I don't know what happens if you're, I guess the distance is always less than plus or minus 12, right? Or even 11. Okay, let's take a different one. Okay, well, that is our half steps thing I just deleted. Okay. Oh, that's okay. Where's half steps? Okay, this one, half steps of this minus that. That is that. Okay, so this is really just highest dot half steps minus lowest dot half steps. Well, I don't know why he's. Oh, we know the higher is highest. Okay. Yeah. So this is in this case, I think we're operating in terms of true half steps. We're not wrapping modulo 12, but in the note name case, that's where we're only keeping track of the name, not the octave, and so it does wrap around. But okay, that's that one. Half steps, not, well, that's, okay. Value less than, now a less than operator makes sense. Maybe I should just keep doing this down the ways. Oh, we have one. Okay. So this is frets dot value less than halfSteps dot value gone. Okay. Now let's make sure that's good. Oh, sorry. Yeah, now your idea of adding them instead of subtracting. I don't know. I'm not sure because, like, if you go up a fifth versus down a fourth, you get to the same note. So if I go D up a fifth is A, D down a fourth is A. So there's something weird about flipping the octaves. But let's see, we added minus and less than operators. But there may be a way to make it work. And also notice this whole computation is about halfSteps. Maybe we just put it up in our maybe this is the function that should be on halfSteps. NoteName other. Yeah, if we passed in distance from other dot halfSteps. Oh, versus halfSteps. Yeah, I think there's something going on there we can do. All right, that passed. All right, now halfSteps or search. Why does it say NotePair when I was searching for halfSteps.value? Okay. All right, this one I think we can't get rid of because he really is converting to an integer domain for distance purposes, screen distances. He's calling the drawing function with that. So that's kind of stuck. This fret, well, we can take the values off. One fret's less than the other. If it's halfSteps, it's less than the other. Yeah. So, right, our halfSteps, our fret scale goes beyond one octave. So we have to keep the actual. Yeah, we will do that at some point. Okay, cool. All right. halfSteps.value less than halfSteps.value. We've already got that operator. Okay. It's the nice part where we peel stuff back out. Fretboard size. I'm gonna keep that one. Oh, let's just add it in. One to look at. We got the dot values off. That's something, but there's still one there. Percent. Okay, now we may need a percent operator, but I suspect they're all doing halfSteps per octave. Self.NodeNames per count is the same as halfSteps.octave value. Okay. Yeah, so I think this thing needs to be a pure function on halfSteps. Okay. And it's like, I think of it as base. It's getting you back to the range 0 to 12. Black Tomcat, welcome back. So we are working on an application that, let's get it running here. It does a bunch of tools that musicians who play dulcimer might need, and the one we've started on lately is a chord chart for hammer dulcimer. A hammer dulcimer, it looks kind of like the inside of a piano. It's got bunches of strings, and you bang on them with little melody hammer kind of things. And we're trying to introduce something. We have the notion of half frets, that it's like it's 2 half frets from D to E, and it's 2 from E to F sharp, but it's only 1 to G from there. And we've introduced the type that we probably should have put in a long time ago to capture those things. And now we're figuring out what operators does it need. And the one we just identified is that especially NoteName needs to know, I want you wrapped from basically 0 to 12, 0 to 11. So that we take a halfSteps value that's an arbitrary length, and we say, no, I just want to know within an octave, what does it mean? Okay, so, and I don't know, the name I use is base, B-A-S-E. I don't know if there's an official name in a music theory sense, but what we're doing is, wrap is the other one. Wrapped, maybe? Like it wraps around a circle, kind of thing. Let's do wrapped. Okay, so this function is a regular function wrapped on, well, we can even do var. Wrapped is value percent octave dot value wrapped of halfSteps. Okay, so the question, I guess the question you're asking is, I've got this value in halfSteps, and what's it value if I just put it on the range of the first scale? Okay, so I think let's make sure everybody's green at this point. It kind of covers a variety of things. I'm a musician. I play mountain dulcimer, a little ukulele, piano some. I used to play a little guitar, but I've not done that in years. But most of the time, mountain dulcimer these days. Okay, everything's green. Oh no, it's still running. Sorry. Now it's green. Okay, so let's get this in. I'm not sure what we've done. I introduced that. Okay, use new operators on halfSteps. How about you, Black Tomcat? Do you play music at all? Okay, let's go back to these. And they are halfSteps dot value. Huh, you don't want to do it that way. How weird. Okay, so if I right click this, okay, apparently can't just type the name. All right, that one we can't get rid of. This one, that's an odd one. I'm going to come back to him. Okay, this one, halfSteps of $0 dot value percent that that is really $0.wrapped. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, that's kind of nice, I think. Okay, this one again is drawing stuff in a graphic context. He needs the integer value. There's no way around it that I know. Okay, that's us. Now NoteName, he's also doing that. So halfSteps is position dot wrapped. This one is okay. It's really halfSteps plus halfSteps. Yeah. So this dot wrapped. Okay. So if you're going to go to a note that's higher, this is the case. GABCD. Going up GABCD. So let's say we did note plus 5, 6, whatever it is. Okay, so 5. Let's make it 5 plus 9 is 14. We want to wrap around. Okay, so add the 2 half steps of the 2 notes and wrap them and get back wrapped around to the note name. So I'm mostly making note name do the wrapping. Okay, now this one to do, let me capture this one too, just note name dot name dot distance up to. Okay. That's the wrap, that's the wrapped. These are all that. Okay. Well, we're due for a break, so let's take a 3 or 4 minute break. I'll check those in during the break, and we'll come back and tackle those last couple of functions around that. But I think we've done the right thing with this. It's getting there. All right, we'll see you in 3 or 4 minutes. All right, welcome back. Okay. So, all right, NoteName.plus. So I think we did that one, right? Yeah, okay. Maybe. NoteName.plus. What's the argument? Need different variable. Well, we got rid of the variables. Oh, I guess that was this position thing. Yeah, we did that. Okay, but so I think, well, let's capture this. Okay, and then the uses of value. Now I think we're down to the core ones, except those 2 functions I mentioned. So that's a drawing one. I'm not sure about that one. What's the size? Okay. So this one is we have a fretboard it's numbered its frets. Let's show them. Okay, so this is the mountain dulcimer, 3 strings going across, and we number the frets 0 through 10. So we're just finding out how big are you? Well, you're the last fret. 1 through 10 would be 10, but you need one more because the 0 fret is there, so you're adding in that. is that really an int? Well, I don't know what we do with this. Oh, okay, he's used there. I would say that really is kind of an inescapable int. It's feeding into the drawing stuff. Size function that returns the value of what? I mean, it's a little... The reason it's not the count of these, because different fretboards have different numbers of frets. So notice the space between 0 and 1. If I take a chromatic, he has that fret. So the dashed lines are there. They're just the plus frets, the extra frets. So this one has gaps in its frets. So we can't just use the count. Well, we have the size function. Value is really that size. And he is read-only. He's a let. So that kind of is that. I think the funny thing is fretboard. You would kind of you might expect that fretboards would fill completely, but they don't in Dulcimer land anyway, Mountain Dulcimer land. So I think that's okay. I mean, I think you could take the last one. And the only thing that I could push it to on the halfSteps is an increment on that, or plus halfSteps 1. Yeah, and I mean, the reality is the last fret is going to be the highest fret. They are in order, and that's somewhat implicit, but I think it's expected. I mean, this really could be frets dot last. But I need the value. Okay. Well, let's inline this. Frets dot last. Dot halfSteps dot value plus 1. Take the last fret, take its halfSteps, get the value plus 1. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything to incrementing. The other thing I could see doing is let this be, return this in halfSteps. Is there really only the one caller? Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so this becomes halfSteps, and then we'll let the actual drawing code pull the value out. Is that the one? Where'd size go? No, that's not the only use. Wait a minute. So you're saying the compiler's saying I don't even need it there. Yeah, okay. Oh, fretboard. Okay. Oh, fretboard is the one doing the size. Okay. Well, I can at least say private bar size. I guess that's the one I want to be the value. And that's really a view thing, so. I don't think the view should add one. The UI should add one. I don't know. This is a little bit. I think it's a little bit of a compromise to me to put this stuff in here, but it really does care about low-level stuff on the fretboard. The add one is for that 0 fret, and that really is a characteristic of the fretboard and how we number them. So I think we're going to keep that one. All right. Well, these look okay. Let's go back to diatonic. Yeah, I know my chord's better over here. 0, 2, 3. Where's 0, 0, 2? Huh. 0. Oh, I'm in G, D, G, D. Okay. D, A, D. All right, 0, 0, 2. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, so I think that's all right. Fretboard size. Now this one, note name distance up to. The funny thing is, okay, so he's subtracting. He's subtracting and wrapping. All right, so I'm trying to get the way this happens again. So if I'm on if I'm on a G note and I want to go up to a D note, then G is 7 and D is 2. So if I want to go from G up to D, I take D, which is 2, minus 7 is minus 5, but I get an improper answer. So, but if I take 7 up to am I going up to 14? Add the first, subtract the second, and wrap it. Well, I think I only want to wrap it if say I'm going from 0 to 5, there's no wrapping involved. And the distance, 5 minus 0, half steps to get there. But if I go from 5 up to 2, he should be the same distance as 0 up to 5. which sounds odd to say it, but it's I think that's correct. So, I mean, I think this is it's kind of the wrapped distance to, okay, so if I go up to, yeah, I guess I'm saying go G up to D. And if it turns out that D is below G, we basically need to wrap it up. Yeah. If you start with 12, you'll never get below 0. Yeah. But if I'm within the octave 0 up to 5, I should just take 5 minus 0. But if I don't know why it's not plus 1. I guess that's the part it's a distance calculation, so number of half steps between, as opposed to the number of actual half steps. Start with 12, you'll never get below 0. So I guess if the other is less than me, I should add an octave and then do it. Let's see if I can flip that thinking a little bit. So if other half steps is less than half steps, then my half steps I can't add it to other. I guess, let me see who uses this. I don't think that's helping. I mean, this is accurate enough, but okay, let's change this first. If this is result is going to be this distance, if the result is less than 0, then the result is going to be equal to result plus half steps plus dot octave. This is already a half steps. Okay, and now I think NoteName is the one that should know that things are wrapped. Now, whether wrapped, maybe wrapped should just make sure it's a positive value. I don't know if that's correct. Okay, let's make sure this is legit. But who's using this again? Show colors. Fretboard positions. Okay, so that's really the only place. Okay. So I think your statement is okay. Let's make sure this works. I think all I've done there. Yeah, you prefer it, but it doesn't work. Okay. Oh man, that's a hard error. Oh my goodness, come on. Are you gonna make me define that? Yeah. Binary operator plus equal cannot be. I don't know. I might be able to make. Can I define that one? don't know if the search will turn up anything. You can't override the default operator. You can overload plus equal. Okay. Let's see. Static function plus equal. Is that how he works? Okay. That doesn't seem right, does it? Like, I should have to modify halfSteps. Let's see if that builds first. Result was never changed. Result of operator is unused. Okay. Okay, I got to do left in out. All right. That sounds better to me. And then just do the assignment. All right. No return value. Okay. Okay, now it's going to like that, all right. Okay, make sure this works. And we saw several tests that use it. Okay, so that's all right. So I think with what you're saying, if I take other halfSteps plus 12, I think if I do that and then wrap it, right, it should do the right thing. XO Ahmed OX, welcome. Okay, we're in the middle of a refactoring. We'll finish that and kind of give you some orientation here. All right, so that's okay. So we make distance up to work in terms of halfSteps. Yeah, I never quite got used to dark mode, and I don't know, the stuff I've seen on legibility says actually it's easier to read light mode, and certainly I find it that way. So I realize it's a bit in your face when you're not used to it, for sure. Okay, so let's see. So just a quick orientation on what's going on. We're working on a musical application, and I played mountain dulcimer, which is a 3-string instrument, and it sits on your lap. We're working out what if I pick the tuning, how I tune those strings, and then the type of fretboard I have. There are ones with more or less frets on them, basically. And we're trying to figure out the distances from notes to notes. So, if I'm doing a chord and I go from 2, 4, well, let's say 2, 7, 7, I get a triangle, a square, and a circle. It's a legit chord if it has each of those, but my hand can't reach from 2 to 7. I might be able to reach to 5 or 6. Okay, so we need to know the distance so we can decide which chords to tell you about, because it's no use telling you to do a 2, 10, 4 chord, because your hand can't stretch that, or at least mine can't. Most people's can't. And so this distance calculation, the complication we have is, so I'm a part-time musician, amateur musician. But one of the things we're doing is when you're talking about chords, you have the notes on a piano, say, and they repeat every octave, and so if you talk about distances outside an octave, that's fine. That makes sense. Same for us on frets. We can talk about going from fret 0 to fret 10. That's perfectly legitimate, but 7 is the octave. And so 0 to 7, if this is D, E, F, G, then you're starting over, you're going D, E, F, G again. And so a lot of the times when we're talking about chords, we want to make sure the notes of the chord are right, but we don't care which octave it is. And so this code is basically trying to find a distance, but account for the fact that you might be wrapped, that you may have gone past the end of the octave. And then Mudshark666's suggestion was I should add, basically I want to do other.halfSteps. It could be less than halfSteps. So if it's less, then I'm going to bounce it up an octave. I could do that first. Take it plus the octave, and then minus halfSteps, and then that whole thing wrapped. Okay, so this is halfSteps.octave. So we're saying define the distance up to a note, raise the note up an octave, so you don't ever have to worry about being less, and then subtract the amount you were going to subtract from before, and now you're going from, you're definitely going in this range, but in some cases it might be too big. So let's look at those cases. So if I were doing a distance from, if I'm doing the distance from, let's say 4 up to 7. Okay. 4, let's do 4 up to 8. Okay. Well, the note for 8 is really the same as the note for 1. So when it looks at it, it's going to say 4 up to 1. Oh, it came out -3. All right. But I don't want to do negatives, so I'll add an octave to it, and it's gonna -3 plus 12 is 9. Is that gonna work? I'm not sure I'm saying it right. Okay. So if I'm counting from this note up to that note, that's 1, 2, 3. Well, let me do it on this scale. This one has all the notes and it just has plain numbers. Okay, so if I'm going from 0 to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 halfSteps will take me up, even though there's kind of 5 positions. It's a fence post kind of thing. But how many steps do I have to go up? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but if I am going from, let's see, so this is D, E, F sharp, G. 12 is the octave. Okay, got to pick an example. Okay, let's do this one, 0 to 7. So D to A is going to be 7 halfSteps, 7 marks. If I go from A to E, which is 14, but it's stored as being 1 because this, oh, how do I say that? Yeah, it's stored in the lower octave, so it's always kept in the range of 0 to 11. Okay, so going up, we would end up with a negative number because 2 minus 7 is 5, a negative 5. Okay, but we really want plus 5. So if we add 12 back to it, we're getting up to here, and then 14 minus 7 is 7, and it's okay. Let's say it that way, I believe. Okay, so this, I think, Mudtruck's approach is raise that lower note an octave first, and then you can subtract it, no problem. If it's already higher, the second note is higher. Let's see, is that the right one? Other gets raised a half step. So from D to A gets raised up to 19 in this case. And we subtract 19 minus 0 is 19. And then we lower it down an octave. We get back down to a 7. So it's still legit. Okay, I think that's equivalent. Let's make sure. All right, and I'll put this back. So DAD tuning is very common, and diatonic dulcimer with 6.5 or maybe 1.5 and 6.5 is the most common form. So that's the one I know the best in my what there is of a musical brain, I guess. Okay, that's a good sign. Yeah, so I think in effect we raise it an octave and do the subtraction, but if we didn't need it and it wraps, it's fine. But if we do need it, it's important. Okay, so DAD with diatonic, right. Yeah, these 002, 054, 234, 432, 450, 557, these are exactly the chords we want. Okay, good. And we got rid of all those references to the value coming out of the half steps. So we're doing the arithmetic in terms of half steps, not in terms of normal math, and then adjusting it back into half steps and all this stuff. So very good. Let's call it what it is. Simplify calculation of note name.distance up to. Okay. Good, good, and good. Okay, so that's more of an implementation note. That's all the same. I think I mentioned these. Yeah, I think that's what we did. It took a lot of, I guess that took like an hour, maybe even a little more. But that's a change I appreciate. Okay, I guess more refactoring just to see if there was something around chord tone, chord note. Okay, now that looks minimal. Let's just we most recently worked on this, so let's just worry about the hammer dulcimer one. I think the starting point is the board. Okay, that's the view. Tuning chart HD. All right. Yeah, that has all our list of all the possible fretboards and all that stuff are kind of embedded in that. Okay. Bridge layout. Okay, this is the view. Bridge is the thing that counts. Okay. He knows how to add other bridges. And he knows about note pairs. Okay. Note mark. I'm going to change this name to marker as well. Okay. Okay, Node HD. Yeah. Okay, what else? Key HD. That's minimal. A little weird. Wait a minute. These names are really note names. Oh, are they? I think we can call that note names. Yeah, that's really note name. Maybe this can just be names. Values, I don't know. But that key HD. And where are their references? Let's just use note name dot names. What do we call this sometimes? If it's an enum, it's dot. Is it all values? In all cases? Yeah. I don't think I like the sound of that. All note name dot all, maybe. I don't know. All names, all, or just all. Okay. And then this is no longer referenced. Factor now. Okay. Yeah, people use these. I don't know if that's the best way. And then chord chart HD. He knows how to convert the chord names. Okay. Scale chord. The name, the offset, and the quality. Okay, so who references that? I know we build a bunch. Yeah, here we go. Scale quality. Okay, these are all the possible chords in a given key. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll do. I do think we've left a little bit of musical stuff that maybe could have been done. Like both, we have these charts for the music, for the notes on the different instruments. We also have the key of things in like a list of tunes. That doesn't really use the same thing, but it kind of could. It's just that our list of tunes doesn't really care what the chord is. The tuning is. You're just well, the key. I mean, it doesn't care what key it is. It's just reporting it. It doesn't do anything with it. Okay. I don't know. Delete. unused key HD. It's the big news. These, I think, well, change NoteName.names to dot all names. All right. Good. Okay. So, well, we don't have very much time, but what I want to do now is stuff that I need to get done to release it to people. I could probably release today and not worry about it. But these are things that I've noticed so far that need some improvement, and none of them are very big, but they all show up for something. One I'll point is we have a calendar, and I remember we talked about a cache buster kind of thing, like $s=1 that you put in to make sure you get a fresh load. I didn't think we needed it, but it turns out for whatever reason I updated the calendar and it didn't do that until I forced the reload like that. So we may do something for that, but I think we only have a few minutes left. So maybe the open tool is the one I want to do first. Badge for new. Yeah, this one I don't even know if I need that one done before before beta, but the idea there is we have a news page somewhere down here. I'd like to have a little badge on here or something to indicate that there's new news. This just goes to the website, and there's a news item at the front of that. It doesn't have a separate page for news, but it could. I don't think we have to worry about that. But we don't know when this updates, and I'd like to detect. I think we can do it with the head and the modified date, or maybe the head, the modified date, and the size. But you can make a HTML query or HTTP query that just asks for this information without sending back the whole document. So we could check that periodically, like, I don't know, every 4 hours or something, maybe do one ping off and say, hey, are you any different on this front page? That's not super critical, but it would be nice. It would be nice if the application put a dot on there too, a little badge that says like, hey, there's something new. So that's what I'm hoping for there. But the first thing I want to do is this thing of remember open tool. Well, if I come in here, here's the festival calendar, and I'm going to quit and restart, and I'm back at the front page. Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, the other one is like, a pull operation is pretty common for things that update like that. And, even just kind of accidentally scrolling the wrong way will do it. But yeah, that might do it. I like that. Let me capture that. Yeah. Okay. But this one's not too hard, I don't think. So we just, somewhere there's something that knows what you clicked. I don't know if we track that. I'm not sure how we decide, but let's see what's up with that. So I think we'll open content view. Let's close everything else and then open content view, which is the top level view. Okay. Yeah, so these IDs, Let's see. So they're tile wrappers. And then you go to here. I don't actually know how to do this. I thought, whoops. Okay, let's get content view again. How do they transition? Lazy vgrid. Okay, he is a tile wrapper. Which is a subview. Okay, so he's a navigation link. I don't know. Let's research a little. Remember navigation link when app restarts. Or maybe it's current view. I don't know how to describe it. Huh. He got it whether he wanted it or not, it looks like. We'll navigate to edit. Yeah, I mean, maybe I thought there was a way to get these guys linked based on a binding to something, but navigation destination for color.self is color detail. So this one breaks out the navigation stuff. Control a link automatically. Okay, here we go. Pass a binding. Well, this one seems the closest. Track the items on the stack. But that's kind of assuming... Navigation stack of color. Okay, so I make navigation stack, take the range of stuff. Okay. Navigation stack. So he's going to take the argument. Yeah. I think this is the quote modern way to do this, is with this stack thing. But I got to find the entity that corresponds to these, because I'm not sure. Is it the IDs? Then I don't like them per se. I mean, I probably should make an enum for these or something maybe instead. Okay, I don't think this is going to be a 3-minute job. So this one, he's saying, take the selected color like take the last color in my stack and navigate to the color detail corresponding. Okay, let's go to their. Now, oddly, okay. Separating the view from the data. You can manage the state by recording the presented data. But like our problem is we have different entities for each one. Now maybe this is suggesting I dispatch through that. I honestly, I think I'm only going to have one level if I'm on my main screen or I'm on my first level subscreen. There's no deeper stack to go to. You do have applications where you're kind of tracking through a list and it's got more of the same, maybe it's a list of people and you've got lists of friends and you click the friend and it goes to that. But if you go back, you get there. Or you can have a jump to the first one and just do that. So we do a binding to this. The path. Maybe checking the list twice. Yeah. Well, I mean, if this, to make it permanent, right, or persistent, I could say app storage here instead. And then this is my navigation and it takes me to the something. But what is that something? Okay. Let's look for navigation stack with path, Swift UI. I think Paul Hudson maybe has an example of this. Codable. Yeah. Okay, he's using navigation destination. Yeah, the problem is mine are all different. Let's go back here. Color equals selection. That's different. This, I've got a list of links and each one goes to a color detail. All right. So this is closer to what I'm doing is individual navigation links with labels that are the same. Well, we're going to stop here. I thought that was going to be like slap app storage on something and you're done. This one with the path seems like the way to go if I can figure out how to tie that value in to what drives this. Maybe it's just a big switch statement or something. We'll see. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow, 2 to 4:30 Eastern Time, 7 to 9:30 p.m. UTC. Thanks for several of you that joined today, and I will see you another time, I hope. Bye-bye.